Hello everyone, welcome back in the online class of biology of class 6th. I am Sandhi Nanda and today I will explain the chapter number 2. And today we will start from page number 24 of your book because some explanation I have already given you in the previous video. Then I will give the question answers which are remaining in the previous video. So open the page number 24 of your book. The topic is fertilization. I told you in the previous video that there are two processes in the flower, and the first process is called pollination and another one is called fertilization. So we studied about the pollination in the previous video. What is pollination? When the pollen grains reach to the stigma, that process is called pollination, that I told you. So today we are starting from the fertilization. What is fertilization? The process of the fusion of male cell with the female cell is called fertilization. So for understanding the process of fertilization, you have to consider this diagram. I hope it is clear to you. Here is the diagram. It is in your book also. Here you can see one egg cell is there. You can see a egg cell. This is the egg or female cell. I told you that when the male cell fuses with the female cell and the male cell is present in the pollen grains. Male cell is present in the pollen grains. This is the pollen grain and female cell is present here. So pollen grain, male cells are present. Then after reaching the stigma, this is the stigma, you know very well, this is the stigma. After reaching the stigma, this pollen grains develop a pollen tube which carries a male cell on its tip. The pollen tube travels through the style and reach the ovule inside the ovary. Actually what happens? Here is the, you can see one pollen grain is present here. This pollen grain makes a tube. This pollen grain makes a tube like structure, and this tube like structure enter into the style like this. It is traveling into style and reaches here into the ovary. This is the ovary. So this male cell or pollen grain reach into the ovary with the help of this tube. The ovule contains a female cell. Here already female germ cell is present. So here this male cell and female cell fuses together. Male cell and female cell fuses together and they form a zygote. This process is called the fertilization. Again I am telling you, pollen grain is present here. With the help of the tube and style, it reaches into ovary. In ovary, female cell is present. So when this male cell and when this female cell fuses with each other, this process is called fertilization. And in this process, what is made? In this process, zygote is made. In this process, after the fusion, one cell is there. Before this, two cells are there. After fusing, one cell will be there, and this is called zygote. What it is called? Zygote. So this is called the process of fertilization. So we can say the process of fusion of the male cell with the female cell and forming of zygote is called fertilization. This diagram is also very important. So draw this diagram in your book as well as learn and practice this diagram for exams also. This is very important, process of fertilization. Now, what are the post-fertilization changes? After fertilization, the changes that take place in each part of the flower is shown in table. Then, what is the meaning of post-fertilization changes? First of all, what is the meaning of this post-fertilization changes? Actually, what happens? The flower parts after fertilization, the parts of flower, I told you some parts of flower, that flower parts are changes into different types. So what happened to these part of flowers after fertilization? So it is given in the table. This table is in your book also. What happens? Petals, stigma and anthers dry up. They dry up and fall off. You know very well, in flowers petals dry off na, they can dry off and they can fall off. Then sepals also dries up, and sometimes it may be attached, or sometimes it also fall off. Then what happened to ovary? It is very important. Ovary develops into a fruit. Ovary develops into a fruit. Now the question is, what is ovary? Then in previous picture I showed you what is ovary. This part ovary, this part of the flower, this makes the fruit. This part of the flower makes the fruit in future. This part is ovary. I think it is clear to you. And then the next is ovary wall. Ovary wall or ovule. Ovule is present inside, or we can say it female cell. Ovule is the female cell. It develops into fruit wall, seed. Ovule develops into seed. So after zygote, when zygote is formed in the fertilization process, then this ovule, it means male and female cell, is converted into seed. After zygote, it can convert it into seed. So this is the post fertilization changes which occur in a flower after fertilization. Then the next topic is the fruit. Then after this, this ovary or this flower is changes into fruit. So what is a fruit? A fruit is the mature and ripened ovary. I told you ovary turned into fruit. So ripened ovary developed after the completion of two processes, pollination and fertilization. There are two processes in the beginning, pollination and fertilization. After this ovary is converted into the mature fruit. A fruit contains an outer fruit wall called pericarp and the seeds. Fruits are having two parts. First part is called pericarp. This is the outer covering of a fruit, and the inner part is called seed. Inner part is called seed. So you know, you eat very many fruits. In every fruit, pericarp outer layer is present, and inner seeds, in inner layer seeds are present. Then there are two kinds of fruits. First kind is the dry fruits, and the second is fleshy fruits. What are the dry fruits? When a pericarp of a fruit is dry, it is known as dry fruit, like almond. When the outer surface is dry, it is called dry fruit, like almond, cashew, walnut. These are the dry fruits. And when the entire epicarp or its parts become juicy, when the fruit is juicy or fleshy, then they are called the fleshy fruits, like mango, papaya, banana. Many fruits are there. So there are two kinds of fruits, dry and fleshy fruits. Now in the fleshy fruits, sometimes the pericarp is further divided into three parts. Only in fleshy fruit, this outer covering is divided into three parts. One is epicarp, second is mesocarp, and third is endocarp. It will be clear from this diagram. Here three parts are there. So the peel of the mango, example of mango is given here. Peel of the mango is called exocarp, and the middle fleshy part that we eat, that is called mesocarp, and the inner hard woody part or seed part is called the endocarp. And here one more diagram is there, that is of endocarp only, longitudinal section showing large seed. So you have to consider only this diagram. There are three parts in fleshy fruit. Sometime outer peeling part is exocarp, second fleshy part is mesocarp, and third seed part is called endocarp. So this is the structure of a fruit, especially a fleshy fruit. Then what are the functions of a fruit? So the fruits always protect seeds from extreme environmental condition. They protect seeds because because in fruits outer covering is present, as well as fleshy part also present. So they protect seeds. When they ripen, seeds mature and then they help disperse seeds rather than protect them. When the seeds are mature, then fruit tries to disperse them into the environmental condition or into the soil. But when the seeds are matured, until the seeds are protected in the fruits. Fruits help plants spread seeds out because animals transport and discard seeds when they eat fruits. Animals are very helpful in discarding or transferring seeds from one place to another place, like birds, bees, many insects. Fruit also fall off trees and start new fruit plant right next to existing plants. Always from one plant to another plant can grow with the help of the fruit, because one plant consists of many flowers. It can consist of many fruits and many seeds. So from one tree or one plant we can make many trees. So these are the function of a fruit, or you can say the seed. So now next topic is the seed. After fertilization, ovule or zygote turns into the seed. The seed is also having the outer protective covering called, which is called the testa, or it is also called the seed coat. This testa is also called the seed coat. I hope it is clear to you. Seed coat, and it is also called the testa. Then the micropyle. Next is micropyle. It is a tiny pore in the testa that lies on the opposite of the tip of the radicle. It permits water to enter the embryo before active germination. Then one scar, you can say scar or pore, is present in the seed. That scar is called micropyle. With the help of this micropyle, the water can enter into it for the embryonic development. Then the next is hilum. What is hilum? Is a scar left by the stalk which attach the ovule to the ovary wall before it become a seed. I will told you this by the help of this diagram. This is the diagram of a seed structure. So easily you can understand that parts from here. So here is the two structures, because there are two types of seeds. One is the monocot seed and the another one is the dicot seed. So in monocot seed, this is the example of monocot seed. This maize is the example of monocot seed, and here two parts are present, so it is the example of dicot seed. I hope it is clear to you. Maize, this is the diagram of maize. In it one part is present only, so it is the monocot seed, and in it two parts are present, so it is the dicot seed. Then I am telling you the structure of the seed. So the structure is almost same. This is the embryo. You can see embryo is present in the seed. Then what happened? One seed coat is present, that I told you. This is also called testa. This is the outer covering. Then two parts and one parts are present. This is called the cotyledon. In bean seed it is two, but in maize seed it is one. Then the another part is I am telling you, that is micropyle. That is micropyle. Here one pore is present. Here one pore is present. In it here one pore is present. This is called micropyle. From this pore the water can enter into the embryo for the embryonic development. Then the next part is the cotyledon, that I already told you, and embryo I already told you. In embryo there are two parts. Now in this embryo two parts are there. One is the radicle and another one is the plumule. So you can see this is the part of the radicle. This is the part radicle. Radicle further grows into the roots. Radicle further grows into the roots, and this part is called plumule. This part is called plumule. This further goes into the stem. or you can say into shoot. So in favorable condition of air, water and temperature, seed germinates to produce a new plant until the seed gets the best environmental conditions. It means in enough quantity it gets water, temperature and soil. They can remain into this position. It means seed cannot germinate. What is the meaning of germination? Coming out of the plant from the seed is called germination. Coming out of the plants from the seed is called germination. So without the suitable environmental conditions, the plants cannot come out from the seed. So this is the structure of a seed. I hope it is clear to you. It is also given in your book also. Now the next topic is germination of a seed. Germination is usually the growth of a plant. I already told you, growth of the plant from the seed is called the germination. It results in the formation of the seedling. After the seed, seedling will be there. After the seed, seedling will be there. It is also the process of reactivation of metabolic machinery of the seed, resulting in the emergence of radicle and plumule. So then there are some condition. I told you, if proper water is not present there, then seed cannot grow into the plant, because water softens the seed coat, due to which the seed bursts open. When the seed coat bursts, the radicle elongates. So when seed got the proper water, then the seed coat, it means outer covering, becomes softer. Outer covering becomes softer and the radicle comes out from the seeds and make the roots of the plant. And after that, plumule comes out from the seed and it makes the stem of the plant. So it is very important that water will be there for the germination of a plant. Otherwise seed cannot be germinate. In dormant seeds, food material is stored in concentrated form. Water dissolves the concentrated food into soluble form, which is used by the growing embryo. Then the next one is air. Next is air. So like any other organism, a plant also respires. You know very well, we need air to live. Likewise, plant also need air to live. So they take air, takes in air. Seeds require energy for their proper growth. This energy comes from the respiration of seeds. Actually, seeds do respiration. Seeds do respiration. In respiration process from atmosphere, they take oxygen. The seeds take oxygen and convert these convert this oxygen into carbon dioxide. It means they exhale carbon dioxide like we do, and convert by this process they convert their food, which is already present in the embryo. They convert their food into energy. If energy is not there, then the seed cannot mature and the seed cannot be in the living stage. It will be died. The next one is the temperature. Seeds require an optimum temperature to grow properly. The favorable temperature for the germination of most of the seeds is 35 degrees C to 40 degrees C. Below 0 degrees C and above 40 degrees C, seeds cannot germinate. It is very important point. The best temperature for the germination of a seed is 35 degrees C to 40. This is the best or ideal temperature for the seed germination. But below the 0 degree C and above the 40 degree C, seed cannot germinate. Or you can take the example of the polar regions. Here the temperatures are below the 0 degree C, so there are no plants. And in 40 degree C above 40 degree C temperature is in desert area, so there also no plant can grow easily. So these are the conditions necessary for germination of seeds. Now This is the last topic, types of germination. There are two types of germination. One is the apigeal germination and the another one is the hypogeal germination. What is this? In this type of germination, the hypocotyle elongates rapidly and arches upwards, pulling the cotyledons which move above the soil. Bean, cotton, papaya, gourd, castor and onion have germination of this kind. In the dicot seed, it occurs apigeal germination. Hypogeal germination, epicotyle elongates and the cotyledons remain below the soil. For example, pea, mango, rice, gram, etc. You can understand it with the help of this picture. I hope it will be clear to you with the help of this picture. There are two types of germination. One is the apigeal and the another one is the hypogeal germination. In this germination, the plant parts, you can say, roots are always below the ground. Roots are always, this is the seed, you can see, this is the seed, this is the seed, and this is the hypocotyle. It means where the roots can come out. Hypocotyle portion means where the roots can come out, the portion of the seed from which the roots or plumules can come out after bursting. So this hypocotyle portion is out of the soil. This hypocotyle portion is out of the soil. It is out of the soil. So, and cotyledons are also out of the soil. So it is called apigeal germination. But in hypogeal germination, this hypocotyle remains under the ground. This hypocotyle remains under the ground and the only stem part comes out. Only the stem part comes out. Hypocotyle remains under the ground. But in apigeal germination, hypocotyle part comes out of the soil. So this is the difference between apigeal and hypogeal germination. Again, I am telling you, in apigeal, hypocotyle part comes out. Hypocotyle part comes out from the soil, but in hypogeal germination, this hypocotyle parts remain below the soil. This is called the apigeal and hypogeal germination. This diagram is also very important and you have to draw this diagram in your book, in your notebook also. So I hope you have understand it now. In a previous video I have already given you some exercises till matching I have given it. So today I am starting with the choose the odd one out and give scientific reason. So here are the answers. First I am giving the answer, then the scientific reason of it. So the first odd one out is anther, because it is the part of androecium. Second, stem, because anther is the part of the androecium and rest are the part of what? You can identify, rest are the part of the gynoecium. Next, second, calyx, corolla, androecium and stem. So you know very well, stem is the part of a plant and rest are the parts of a flower. Calyx, corolla and androecium are the part of a flower. Third, self-pollination. Self-pollination is a different type of pollination, and insect, wind and water pollination are the cross pollinations. Next is the leaf. So leaf is also the part of a plant, but style, ovary and stigma, these are the parts of the gynoecium, or you can say a flower. But the leaf is a part of a flower and the other are the part of the plant. Leaf is the part of the plant and rest are the part of the flower. Roots, same as there, roots are the plant parts and the rest are the parts of a flower. So this is the choose the odd one out. Then the answer, one word in it. Answer number 1, flowers. Answer number 2, gynoecium. Answer number 3, germination. Answer 4, pollination. 5, androecium. 6th, fruit. 7, corolla. 8, mesocarp. 9, fertilization. And the 10th is epicarp. Epicarp. You can write it from the screen also. Then short answers. First short answer, rose red, lily white, sunflower yellow, mogra white. Second, China rose. Third, ovary. Fourth, the process of transfer of pollen grains for another to from one another stigma of the same flower or another flower of same type is known as pollination. Then fifth is the process of the fusion of the male cell with the female cell. Some error is there, you can write it within, not within, with the female cell is known as fertilization. Then the sixth is papaya and castor. Seventh, water, air and suitable temperature. And the eighth is ovary. Then next is answer in detail. So the male part of a flower. A, filament, it holds the anther high up. Anther. B, it contains pollen grain. Female part of a flower. A, stigma, it has a sticky substance for trapping the pollen grains. B, style, it holds the stigma high to catch the pollen grains. C, ovary, it protects the ovules and grows into fruits. D, ovule, the ovules develop into seeds. This is the answer number 1. Then answer number 2. Of the long, the seed has an outer protective cover called the seed coat. There is a small scar on the seed coat known as the hilum. At the pointed end of a seed, micropyle is situated close to the hilum. Inside the seed, fleshy part cotyledon are seen. The cotyledons store food for baby plant called embryo. An embryo has two parts, radicle and plumule. Then answer number 3. Two types of germination are as follows. A, apigeal germination. In dicot seeds, the cotyledons thick with stored nutrients emerge above the ground during germination. For example, papaya and castor. In hypogel germination, in monocot seeds, the only cotyledons remain below the ground. For example, groundnut and mango. Fourth, A, pollination. Answer number 4. A, pollination by wind, maize and wheat. B, pollination by insects, orchids and saliva. Fourth ka C, pollination by water, hydrilla and valicineria. It is valicineria. In place of M you can write N. It is valicineria. Then the answer number 5. Answer number 5. Stamens are having two parts, anther and filament. Anther and filament. This is anther. You can write here. This is anther. Anther and filament. Anther contains pollen grains for fertilization. Carpels are having three parts, stigma, style and ovary. Ovary contains ovules. After fertilization with pollen grains, these ovules form seeds. So this is the answer number 5. Then answer number 6. Because in this type of flowers, pollen grains are pollinated by insects, so far attracting insects, these flowers produce the nectar. So for attracting. It is so for attracting insects, these flowers produce the nectar. Then 7th, pollen grains are present on the anther. These are powdery and yellow in color. These are produced in the flower for reproduction process. Then the 8th answer. Calyx are green in color, present in the first hole of the flower. Corolla is of different color and present in the second hole of the flower. This is the answer number 8. Here are the differences. This is the first difference, complete flower and incomplete flower. First, a flower which has all the 4 floral holes is called a complete flower. Holes means calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. It is called complete flower. But the flower which lacks any one of the floral holes is called incomplete flower. Then the self-pollination. What is self-pollination? First, the transfer of pollen grains takes place from the anther to the stigma of the same flower of the same plant. Cross-pollination. The transfer of pollen grains takes place from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same type. Second, in this type of pollination, external pollinating agents are not required. And in this type of pollination, external pollinating agents such as water, wind and insects are required. Third, the flowers need not be large, showy and scented. Flowers should be large, showy and scented. So this is the difference. Here is also one error. It is required. You can write it required. I hope it is clear to you. Now the next is the apigeal and hypogeal germination. So the first is, it occurs in dicot of seeds. It occurs in monocot seeds. Second, emerge above the ground during germination. Remains below the ground during germination. Third, for example, bean, cotton, papaya. For example, maize, groundnut, mango. Then the next is androecium and gynoecium. What is androecium? First, it is the third hole of the flower. It is the fourth hole of the flower. It consists of anther and filament. It consists of stigma, style and ovary. Third, it is the male part of a flower and produces pollen grains. And the last is, it is a female part of a flower and having ovules. So this chapter is over now. If you are having any doubt, then you can write in the comment section. If any question is remaining, then you can ask by writing in comment section. In next video, I will give the test paper and revision of the chapter number 1 and 2. So prepare the chapter number 2 for the test paper. Till then, you have to complete this chapter in your notebook, and in next video I will tell you the diagram of this chapter also. Thank you and have a nice day.